Hello everyone, this is Kelly and I'd like to welcome you back to the Honeybee Stamps YouTube channel and day one of our Sunkissed Summer Release. Make sure you check out the description box below for all the information on our upcoming release. First, I'd like to share with you our new Sunkissed Summer freebie die set. Now, this is a cute tag die set in our little collection that we've started this year. And as always, these are free while supplies last with purchases of $100 or more. So let's take a close-up look at this cute little tag die set. So you have a shape tag. It has a sweet little scallop at the bottom, and we have the cut hole at the top, so you can attach ribbon or twine or maybe some baker's twine. That would be adorable. There's also a cute little flower, a scallop die that you can cut a different color and add to the bottom there. And then there's also a cute little fishtail banner where you could stamp a sentiment and add that to your tag, or you could cut out lots of different colors of little banners and add those to your tag for a festive look. First is the beautiful Light the Way stamp set and the coordinating dies. Now, all the little parts and pieces in this stamp set are going to create a beautiful lighthouse scene. So you can see the little lighthouse there in the bottom right-hand corner. There's a sailboat, there is a little sandpiper, there are seagulls, there are boats and seagrasses and a dock. There's even the water and a sandy portion where you can build a beach. There are trees and there's birds flying in the air. There are wispy clouds. And then again, there is that awesome die set. So it's going to make it easy for you, whether you want to make a flat card and just do a scene, or you can die cut all of those bits and pieces and build your scene out on the card. Now let's take a look at what this looks like when it's all put together. So I'm showing this here both vertically and horizontally just to give you some ideas of how these awesome stamps and dies can be put together to create a beautiful seaside scene. Next is the Be the Light stamp set. Now this is the perfect sentiment set to go along with those great lighthouse scene cards. We have a great, beautiful, elegant font and lots of encouraging messages in this Be the Light stamp set. We have Be the Light, I would be lost without you, enjoy, you anchor me through stormy seas, sending you love and light, hi, God is our refuge and strength, you are the lighthouse in the storm, bon voyage, you are the light of the world, Matthew 5:14, you make the world a better place, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path, Psalm 119:105, and I would go anywhere with you. Now there is also the coordinating die set that's going to cut out every one of those awesome, elegant, and uplifting sentiments. Next is the Lovely Layers hammock. Now this has a pair of palm trees with layering palm fronds. It also has a kind of boho, kind of vintage looking layering hammock. There's even a couple of little cushions, so perfect for all of those retirement cards or just beachy, relaxing birthday cards. Now here is a look at the Lovely Layers hammock layering guide. You can see both of the palm trees there at the top and how to layer on all those palm fronds, the layering hammock guide there in the center, and then all of it put together there on the bottom right. Now this set pairs beautifully with a bunch of our beachy looking papers and all of our sentiment sets, along with our Lovely Layers beach bound die set. This die set includes everything you need to create the cutest little beachy bus or van. You can see all the little parts there, including the base for the front of the van, the little nose and headlights. There is a surfboard that you can prop up. There are surfboards that you can attach to the top. And I had so much fun pairing this little beach-bound van with the palm trees from the Lovely Layers hammock set. You can see how it creates the cutest little beachy sunset scene. So I took those palm trees and then inserted or added my little beach bound van right in the center, and I just have the cutest little surfer van. Now this also comes with a layering guide, so let's take a look at that. This layering guide is going to show you how to put all the little parts and pieces to build your little beach bound van. And then here is a close-up look at the finished card with the little beach bound bus and the Lovely Layers hammock palm trees. Next is the Lovely Layers beach houses, and these are so stinking cute. There are several different styles of little houses. One, you could make a little tiki bar, you could make it a little changing bathhouse, you can make it a little like beachy cottage on the beach. There are little accessories like a little buoy, there's some little fish that you can hang on the edge, there's an anchor, there's even little palm trees. Now this is a large die set with lots of little bits and pieces, and so of course there is an amazing layering guide. Now this layering guide is going to show you how to put together each of the little beach houses and all their accessories. It's going to give you ideas for color combinations and things like that, and even show you how that you could set all of these adorable little beach houses up on the Palm Beach cover plate and stencil set. Now let's get into that now. So this is the perfect little scene to set your beach houses. So it has, first we have a die. So this die is going to cut around the edge, plus it's going to impress or deboss all of the great detail you can see there in that metal die. Now when that die is paired with the Palm Beach stencils, that made it super easy for me to color in that scene. You can see the palm trees are colored in back there, kind of the beachy grasses and shrubbery, the water, and even the stonework. So I'm going to flip through these rather quickly and lay them out on the backer here so we can get a look at what each little stencil and what each little part is going to color in. So they're all separated out, so it makes it easy for you to use your blending brushes or your detail brushes to color in all the little parts and pieces. See, that one is going to color in the little hillside or the little sand dune there towards the back. And then if we flip here, we're going to get some of the beachy grasses and shrubbery. And then the next one is going to give us the stonework and also the trunks to the palm trees. So this is the perfect little setting for all of those little Lovely Layers beach houses. This stencil set comes with a layering guide as well, so it's going to show you which stencil is going to color in what. There's also showing some color suggestions. So for example, the stone and the trunks of the palm trees, the palm fronds, and the sky and the water, and so on. Next, we have a large die set called the Time to Go postcard die set. Now this has a postcard die. This is like regulation size postcard size, so if you wanted to send that in the mail, you totally could. The postcard die is going to press or give you the impression of all of the little stripes around the edges, the place where you would add the address. It says postcard at the top, and it also has a place for the stamp. The die set also includes the dotted oval there to the side and the Time to Go sentiment. There are also other little pieces like 3 great frames in 3 different styles, so you could flip it over, add a cute little beachy scene or a sweet stamped and colored image, and then add a little frame to the back side. There are the little postage stripes that are pressed into this one. The blue one, has more of a kind of a floral in the corner. And then the third one, this here shown in the yellow, has little stars in the corner. And so those are the perfect little frame to finish out a cute little card on the back side. Now here's a look at that oval when we don't have the Time to Go die cut added to the top. And then there are some stamp designs as well. So you could create your own fun little stamps, add these to a card, add these to your postcard. whatever you wanted to do. So there is the stamp that has the perforation down the middle and the sides. There's also a little frame for that. And then there's also a single stamp that has the stamp or the background piece there. And then there is a frame to that one as well. So let's take a look at all the little pieces here. So we have the postcard, we have 3 frames, we have the stamps that have the little perforation in between each one, and that is a set of 4, and then we have the single stamp. So a large, cool die set that you can use to create cards, or you could use it to create a postcard that you want to send through the mail. Now here's a graphic that shows you what the Time to Go postcard would look like paired with some of the other die sets. So you see the little van, the Lovely Layers hammock, even the little beach houses there, and there's some little stamps created over on the side. I think this is just adorable. Now next up is a beautiful stamp set called Anchors of Hope, and all of these images were done by Kelly Taylor. So we have the beautiful anchor wrapped in plumeria, and then we also have a big seashell that is nestled around plumeria as well. There's lots of great greetings in this stamp set, like Hope anchors the soul, Hebrews 6:19, hello, thinking of you, wishing you the best. Love you to the beach and back, and thank you for your kindness. Now there's a coordinating die set that's going to cut out both the anchor and the big seashell image, and also all of those greetings. Now this would be a great stamp set if you wanted to create a beautiful stamped and colored postcard. You can see how that seashell would fit right on there, even the little anchor, and then you could just have a beautifully colored postcard. Next is the beautiful stamp set drawn by Don Holslegel, and this is called Beach Please. It has an adorable little beach cottage with a single chair, a little stack of towels. It even has a surfboard and palm trees. And then there's also the little double chair scene to the bottom, perfect for like retirement cards. It's in between 2 palm trees with some little string lights. Now this stamp set has lots of great greetings as well, like aloha, wishing you a relaxing birthday, relax and enjoy, wishing you a sunny day, sending high tides and good vibes, and enjoy the beach life. So perfect for a retirement card. Now Dawn's little scenes would be perfect for that Time to Go postcard as well. You can see how sweet that those little scenes would be stamped and colored on the back or the front of your postcard. Now there is a coordinating die set that goes along with the Beach Please stamp set. It's going to cut out both of those beachy scenes and then all of the great sentiments. Next is the Sunkissed Summer Sentiment Set. Now this sentiment set is a really great font for some really fun summery cards. We have sentiments like sending sunshine, happy summertime, I'll bring the cooler, life is better at the river, at the beach, at the lake. So you can pick and choose like where your family likes to go. I love that little touch. It's river time, sending warmest wishes, hey sunshine, and more. There's also that coordinating die set that's going to make it super easy for you to stamp your sentiment, cut it out, and then add it anywhere you need to on your card. Now it's time to create a card with some of today's items, and I'm going to use the Beach Please stamp set designed by Don Holslegel, and I'm going to create a kind of watercolory card. So I've got some watercolor paper. It's the nice kind of textured paper down in my Misty, and I'm going to stamp this cute little beachy cottage with some VersaFine black ink, because VersaFine ink is water safe. And so I'm going to ink this up several times, and I have to press it really nice and hard to get it down into the little grooves and waves of that textured watercolor paper. So once I get it nice and crisp and dark and black, I'm going to take my heat tool and dry that ink. I want to make sure it's really nice and dry before I start working on the coloring. Now I am using my set of Tombow markers, and these are fun for me because it makes it look like I can do maybe some fancy watercoloring, but I'm not having to do a whole lot of work. And so I can just add a little dab of whatever color I choose to the edges and then use a water brush or a paintbrush with a little bit of water on it just to drag out that color and then fill in the spaces. And then anywhere I kind of want to add a little bit more shading or something like that, I just simply take whatever marker I've used and just add a little bit more here and there. So you're going to see me go through the different colors. This is so super easy to do. You can see I am just spreading that pigment out from the edges where I added it in with the Tombow markers. Now, one thing I wanted to remember to do is to make sure that I used my heat tool to set kind of each layer of the pigment and the water before I kind of went in and changed colors or added, more marker here and there. You can see where I'm adding a little bit of shading right under the cute little buoy that's hung up under the rooftop. And so I tried to remember to do that. I'm not just a really great like watercolor artist, but I try to remember to do that in between each color. And this is how I tested which ink or which marker I wanted to use. Is I had a scrap piece of the same watercolor paper, and I would simply just do a little scribble onto that paper and then use my water brush to pull it out to see what shade I was going to end up with. And sometimes when you use different types of markers, especially when I get into like greens and browns and things like that, when you pull the color or the pigment out with the water, sometimes you get different shades or different pigments. It almost is like some of the pigments separate, and so a green can turn a little yellow or it can turn a little brown. So I was careful to test each ink color before I applied it onto my stamped image. So you can see all of my trim and the front door I'm going to do in this really pretty like beachy turquoise color. And so again, all I did was add a few little scribbles down the lines that Dawn had already drawn into this really pretty image. I could add that there and then just use my wet brush to kind of spread around, dab around, and drag down the shading and the color where I needed to fill in. And then here I remembered, I was so proud of myself, I remembered to go in and heat up each area before I added any more to different sections. So I'm going to go in on the little windowsills, and then we're going to do the roof, and this is just going to be a fun, bright beach cottage when I'm all finished. Now, after finishing all the little bits and pieces that I wanted the turquoise color, this is where I started on the decking and the steps. And so I'm going in with different colors of browns. So the first color I'm using is kind of a light to a medium brown, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just kind of add the pigment down, and then I can take a wet brush and then just kind of spread that around to get, you'll see where it's getting lighter colors. I was more careful on the deck part to add or use the marker to add the pigment in like right up next to the cottage. So you can see where that gives me a little bit of a darker shadow, because when you mute that down or you add the water to it, it's going to make a lighter shade. So I was a little bit more careful right there. So that's where I added the pigment into the image. The next things I worked on were the little yellow beach towel. I thought that little pop of yellow was cute, and the beach board, I pulled in the yellow so I would have a little bit of that yellowy orange color on both sides of the little cottage. And then now I am working on the palm trees. Now I did the trunks of the palm trees in the same shade as I did the deck area. You can see I did the chair a little darker, added a little bit of shading into that with a darker brown, and the leaves are fun for me because I can start out with maybe kind of a lighter shade of green and then drop in some darker shades to add just, you know, a little bit of shading, a little bit of darker areas. And so the leaves were fun for me to play with. On some portions, like the palm fronds or the palm leaves, I did scribble the darker pigment onto my glass mat, and that was kind of easier for me to pick up and drop in little kind of watercolor puddles. And so I did that, especially there on the leaves. To drop that in instead of taking the marker and trying to then pull it out, I was able to wet down the ink that was on my glass mat and then add it or kind of puddle it in to give it a little bit more of the loose watercolor look instead of it being so precise, if that makes sense. Now, to go around the edges of the images, I am taking this really, really light kind of icy blue and going all around the edge. Now the background that I'm going to add this onto, it almost looks like a kind of turquoisey night sky, and so this is just going to give me a finished look. So when I die cut this, I'm not going to have the white edge all around that die cut image. I'm gonna have a little bit more of a turquoisey blue that's going to blend a little bit better with that background that you see there in my Misty. I'm sorry I got my head in the way. I was trying to get that sentiment all lined up. I'm stamping the sentiment directly onto my inky background, and I didn't want it to be crooked when I stamped it down. So I'm making sure that it's nice and neat. I went over that several times. It's a brand new stamp, so I wanted to make sure that I got a really great impression. And then now you can see I can add that down. I even inked on a little bit of the same brown ink that was inked onto the background. I inked that down there towards the bottom of the deck and around all the stonework around the little cottage, and it just makes the bottom of that image just kind of blend into the background. I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I had a lot of fun playing with kind of my fake watercolor, if you will, or faux watercolor. The markers made it really easy just to put down a little bit of pigment and then drag all the color out with a water brush. Here is the finished photo, and I'm really excited and happy with how this turned out, and I love the sentiment. Wishing you a relaxing birthday. I would have a really good time at that little cute beach cottage. Thank you for joining me for day one of the Sunkissed Summer release. All of these products will be available after our release party on June the 7th. Make sure you check out all the information in the description box below. Bye-bye!